We all have these stories that we buy into. Sometimes those stories help. They get you to the life that you want, you feel fulfilled, you feel happy, you feel free, you feel abundant, okay? Sometimes those stories, they hinder. These might be religious stories that you're buying into. These might be family stories that you're buying into. These might be stories from any era of your life which are holding you back. And you know you're being held back, but you may not know what story is holding you back. Maybe you feel you have to work and work and work and you never seem to get anywhere. And you look at other people and wonder why it seems to be so easy for them. Or maybe you're the person everybody else looks up to and thinks you haven't made, but there's this dissatisfaction inside of you that knows this isn't it. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be somewhere else. And I can tell you right now that if there's any dissatisfaction in your life, it is because of the stories that you're telling yourself. It is because of the stories you've bought into. Stories that you don't even realize are stories because you've built your whole life on these stories. So you think that they're true. And it takes an outside perspective to come into your life and say, hey, that story is not helping you. And this is potentially another way to look at it. Nobody would tell you that. But by pointing out the story, sometimes that's enough to start changing the story. And then together we can change the story. Or you might find that pointing out the story, you might still need some healing work, some clearing work to get to the place where you're finally ready to release that old story. I mean, I've seen people who have stay in relationships because of a story that they're telling themselves. They stay in jobs because of stories they're telling themselves. They stay, their health is horrible because of the stories that they're telling themselves. They stay in very horrible religious organizations because of the stories they're telling themselves. And they wonder because they feel as though those stories are unchangeable, unshakable. So they never stop to wonder or question or change the story. And so they continue to feel as though they're out of place in their own life. They continue to feel as though there must be something more, but they can't seem to cross over to that something more, no matter how hard they work at whatever it is. And I'm here to invite you to rise, okay? Now, this is a coaching, what would I call it? An intensive, because it's a 3.5 hour or so thing that you and I will do alone together. It can be over the phone. It can be in person as well if you're anywhere where I am. And we will look at your stories. We will look at what you actually want from your life, and we'll look at the stories keeping you from it. And I will help you to see which stories are helpful, which stories are not so helpful, so that you can move into a life that is based on beliefs and stories that empower you, that enable you to move forward rather than continue to stay stuck, feeling as though you can't do anything about it when you know you're powerful, okay? You know you're powerful, although you might be buying into a story now that you're not, that you have no choice, that you have to do this, that your responsibilities demand that you do it this way, or blah, 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 blah. There's all kinds of stories that we buy into. And the truth of the matter is that you can choose stories that empower you, okay? You can choose stories that empower you. So I invite you to rise. If you want to find out more about this, if you are looking to be free, to live a more free, fulfilled, abundant life, which I call the deliberate life, then hey, get in touch. I will send out the details to you, and we will book in our session, and you will come away from that session with next step plans, knowing exactly what the stories were and how to clear them. We will have started the healing journey already. You'll be clear on your purpose, so you'll know what it is that you're here to do, because honey, you can't be completely fulfilled or happy when you're living the wrong life for you. It's just impossible, okay? It's just impossible. That in itself may shift something for you right there, because you might be trying very hard to fit into somebody else's box for you. And of course, it's never going to work. So we'll get clear on your purpose. We'll get clear and connected to the source, because I do believe that it's in that connection to source, whatever you wish to call it, higher power, divine, whatever, that's where your true power comes from. We'll get clear of the stories, okay? And you'll know, we'll start creating the life that you desire. I know it seems like a lot to do in that 3 hours, but it's incredible what happens when it's not just you looking at your life. Because I'm objective. I see things that you may not be able to see. And that changes things so much quicker. So send me a message. Ask about rise. If you're done, with feeling out of place in your own life, if you're done with feeling like there must be more, if you're done with settling for a lot less than you know you're capable of, regardless of what anybody else thinks about how successful you are, okay? You know if you're reaching your full potential or not. And if you're not, it's because of the stories. Are you ready to rise? Much amazing love.